the women's title match with Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. A match that gave us the answers to a lot of questions I think that we had. Tiffany Stratton defeat Charlotte. Both gears looked expensive. I liked Charlotte's gear, probably some of the best that she's ever had. Tiffany's, I liked hers as well, liked her entrance too. But I found out a couple things in this match. One, I found out why Charlotte was acting up in the build. Because she probably got told she wasn't going over and was like, I'm leaving here with something. And then Charlotte beat the shit out
on the mic and in the ring.
Yeah, Charlotte beat the shit out of her. And Tiffany was not equipped to fight back in not only outside the ring in these promos until somebody, I like to think there was somebody that pulled her aside backstage and was like, and gave her the Michael Irvin speech. You gonna let her keep doing this to you? What are you gonna do about it? And that's why she bucked up at the end with that promo and all that. But she was not equipped to fight Charlotte back in the ring. It was like she's never been in a real fight or something like that. And Charlotte, obviously the veteran, she was gonna be the person that's calling this match. It was like she wanted to bring something out of Tiffany that either wasn't there or hasn't developed yet, or is a function of that school, the PC, which would not teach her those things. So like I thought this got very sloppy in parts. There were compelling parts of the match, but like it would go back and forth to like, I think they're hitting vacillated, and then it was like nope, it just falls. Like they were trying to get to that Charlotte and Rhea Ripley level, but the thing is, Charlotte knows that Rhea will probably beat the shit out of her. Like so like I think that like with Tiffany, it's like Tiffany don't want the smoke like that, like as far as like the physicality like that.
So I'm with you as far as like it vacillated greatly between good and at times just like they had the match and then they lost it 3 different times. They had the crowd in their hands. They lost it with their poor execution, poor chemistry, wonkiness, clunkiness, whatever you want to call it, botching it up stuff 3 different times. And the part that was really frustrating was that by the time they got to the part where Charlotte starts selling her knee, and it turns into a game of desperation where they're both working over their legs at different points, and Charlotte's selling her knee like a champ. Just great. That was the part that got me after the 2 different times they stumbled. And then they're off to the races. They got to their closing stretch. And then they start mucking up their closing stretch. I was like, God damn it. That was the time where I was like, you got it? Oh no, it's going back. Yes, no. And then by the time they got to close the stretch and they start focusing, I was like, that's when I just pulled out the match and got frustrated. It was like, damn it, you had it. And if you had just got it together for the closing stretch, we could have thrown you, and we could have been like, hey, it got clunky, whatever else we gave you, but by the time we got to the end of it, with the selling of Charlotte's knee and all that kind of stuff, you had your story, you had the compelling stuff, you had the crowd, and it worked. And then they killed it in close stretch, or in a bad way, and it didn't work. I was frustrated, because like watching them together is like, if the layout is there, the layout was absolutely there for them to go out there and have a classic Charlotte a classic WrestleMania Charlotte match, singles match, and they just didn't get pulled off because they fucked up in 3 different spots. And it was frustrating because me and you, while we give Charlotte the blues on here, me and you both like her because we liked her since the first time we saw her over a decade ago when she was having those matches in NXT, and we were both like, hey man, she might be special. And she has had some special matches over her career. And the thing that's frustrating about her now is she does not have good matches anymore when the lights aren't bright. But when the lights are bright, she'll go out there and have a match like she had WrestleMania last year. And it makes it frustrating because like you basically a part-timer now. You basically a part-timer, not through health or whatever other reason. You just in and out. But when it's time for a big spot, you command the spot, and then you pay it off with a big match. And then this time is like, the match fell apart, so you can't even justify that shit no more.
Yeah.
So where are we? Do we give you another shot? And then if you don't do this, then we need to reevaluate what you doing with your career?
I think she's got to look in the mirror because I think obviously she's going through a lot of stuff like outside the ring and coming back with that, and she's looking around.
She was going for a long time with a knee injury. Yeah, that's true.
and she's looking around like, and everything is changing around her. Like they're bringing in, the new chicks all the time. Like, even on commentary, they were trying to attribute a move that she was doing like 10 years ago to Stephanie Vicaire, and it's like,
right. And I mentioned that to you. Like they totally forgot that like Charlotte popularized that in 2014.
yeah. So like, it just feels like, we're talking about people being of another era. Like, Charlotte's slowly approaching that. They clearly wanted to have Tiffany, go over her. This
Yep.
this looks like this was kind of designed as some passing the torch shit, but like, nah, like,
Yep. She ain't passing it.
she not passing it. You're gonna have to rip that from her, and I don't know if
No,
Tiffany
no,
necessarily
forget
is.
ripping it. No, she's never passing the torch over. You like it. The story. Look, the people, the producers of the show wanted to be that. She's never given her that. Right? She would rather walk. She would rather walk out that bitch and without putting her over like she's Muto and Kaito Kiyomiya.
Look,
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'll give her credit for this. Like she took the pin or whatever, and the 1, 2, 3 and all that, and it wasn't no bullshit. But like,
yeah,
I imagine it. Someone had to have a talk with her to ensure that happened. Like I don't know anything or whatever, but I feel like conversations were had throughout this program to ensure that it got in the ring. And
it's been a lot of frustrating stuff with her over the last few years. A lot of when she's been on TV, a lot of frustrating things. Yeah, man, and you mentioned that stuff about like different generations, whatever else. Meanwhile, the next night, a whole new generation that came right after her, they went out there and said, we finna wipe our asses in one of those. What your first WrestleMania match you ever had? At 3 with Becky and Sasha, they wiped their asses with that one.
Yeah.
And remember, she should be having matches with those three, but at least two of them do not want to have a feud with her ever again after what happened in 2020.
So, Tiffany Stratton. As far as her, I feel like the jury is still out on her. This was a perfect opportunity to have your star making match. They could have easily had the match of the night, I feel like. But she didn't come through, and I think a lot of people wanted her.
It was there for the taking. This is what I'll say. I'm willing to not write her off because I'm willing to wait to see what she does versus somebody of that caliber on that roster with respect on the main roster. That ain't Charlotte Flair. I want to see it versus Becky Lynch or Bianca or Io or Rhea. I'm willing to wait on those.
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't like she's not in the live category for me. Like, nah, like
better than Liv. Yeah, she's way better than Liv.
So
just physically, just athletically.
Yeah.
Yeah.